So realistically, there are only like 1 or 2 more issues inside of this entire Ultimate Spider-Man storyline left. And here, this issue here is nothing more than a setup, but it does play with some very interesting things. The first being, of course, a 3-month time skip to December, which is very unusual for this series, as each issue has been following a singular month corresponding with the release in real life, yet here it skips 3 months, which inside of that time skip, who knows what could have happened, as immediately we see things are different with a new Spider-Man masquerading across New York. Now, he is silhouetted in a black suit, and we aren't sure if this is because of the suit's properties, as maybe it's Pico Tech enabled to shapeshift like Peter's original suit. But as this guy goes and arrives at a Chinese restaurant, very mundane to be dressed up and swing around as Spider-Man, he even goes on to threaten the worker there, saying there better not be any soy sauce or I'll be back, which is not only very rude, but pretty unhero-like in that regard. And even as this new Spider-Man continues on his way, going in the sewer and under New York, swinging into the savage land in this universe, which is actually located directly under New York, we see the silhouette around him dissipate, which points to the fact that this entire time, though, the suit wasn't black, but just, for artistic reasons, it was just darkened. This new Spider-Man goes on to say, to the depths to which I sink, hiding deep in the earth beneath the great behemoth of the city, like something small and inferior, when I am so much more, when I am so very superior. So yeah, showing that this new Spider-Man is this version of the superior Spider-Man Otto Octavius, as he continues to swing off to their hideout and even meets MJ and their daughter. Now, a couple very obvious and interesting things to note about this. One, Otto's suit is different than the traditional superior Spider-Man suit. Heck, it looks like a combination between the PS4 version of Spider-Man with the white logo on his chest and the normal superior Spider-Man, which is very interesting. And secondly, how does Otto, being, I don't know, maybe in his mid-40s, early 40s, whatever, an older man, if you will, swing and move like Spider-Man? That's just beyond me, especially assumingly having no upgrades and physical superhuman powers like Peter does. And lastly, no one seems to bat an eye about this, meaning it's normal. So whatever happened in the 3 months that this comic just skipped ahead of must have been drastic for everybody to be okay with Otto having a Spider-Man persona, but also the set of events that led everybody here in this underground hideout deep underneath the city of New York. Because as we go to find out and they go in, it's not just them, but it's also J. Jonah and Uncle Ben as they continue to research and get all the information about what's going on within the city, all the corruption and bad stuff, yada yada yada, to publish and make public to the rest of the world. And the reason why they're here in this location is very specific, because one, yes, they need somewhere to hide out, as they are public enemies at this point, especially Peter and his family, and by extension Ben and J. Jonah, but also because this place has been rigged by Otto Octavius, being the genius he is, of course, to be able to not be traceable, at least to a certain extent. So once they do put all this information public, they can't just be traced down and assassinated for what they're doing or stopped. But it does have limits, as Otto even goes on to say. There's a limit to how many bursts we can push out before the signal can be traced, though J. Jonah and Uncle Ben are smarter than that. The threshold is about 4 times before they can be traced, so they kept it to under 3, meaning in the morning, everything is going to be published and the world will finally know all of the evil and corruption that's been going on. But for now, with that under wraps, they all just go to have a almost big family dinner, which is all fine and dandy and everything, They're about to cause real change and flip everything on his head, but that leaves a question of where is Peter and Harry in all of this? As Otto Octavius even goes on to ask as much, with MJ just replying, Peter said just to go ahead and start eating without them because they might be running a little late. Moving back above, actually into New York, we see exactly why. Spider-Man and Green Goblin now fighting a bunch of villains and the many clones, army, whatever, of Bullseye, which at this point, I don't think it's even explained what exactly they are and what their deal is. Like, surely they don't have the actual power of being expert level marksmen who can't miss or whatever, because one Bullseye alone with that power is crazy, but having an army of them would be even more devastating. Yet here in this entire time, they have been nothing more than fodder for Spider-Man and Green Goblin to take out, with Peter even going on to say as much, saying, we've been smashing these guys for over a year, and you'd think by now they would have learned their lesson or somehow gotten new tricks or abilities. Which is kind of funny that Peter says that when one of them pulls out a new ability in the form of a laser eye, hitting Harry and knocking him down. Though Harry says it's not a problem, as he has had some upgrades and new toys of his own, sending out whatever weird looking weaponry and downing everybody instantaneously. Instantly, of course, Spider-Man wondering, what are they even doing here? These guys aren't foot soldiers per se, they're more like assassins, and more recently we see them being just like Kingpin's guard, yet they're here just out in the open attacking them. Peter, of course, wanting more answers, but Harry, as you go on to see, is very dismissive of Peter trying to just brush all under the rug, and it's nothing to worry about, don't overthink it. It's pretty simple. We see Bullseye, hit Bullseye, and then be home in time for dinner. Of course, trying to just rush Peter along and get him out of there for whatever reasonings and ideas he has, which is very ominous, yes, but will come into play a little bit later on. For now, though, Peter asks, what about him? Harry just saying, he's going to stay here and just stick around to see if anything pops back up or anything else happens, which, of course, this entire situation is taking place after the death death of the whole entire Mysterio group by the direct hands and plans of Mr. Negative. So of course, them seeming like they are truly dead in this sense. Harry is dealing with the fallout of his wife, Gwen Stacy, who was a part of them and seems to really be dead as well. As he even goes on to say, he doesn't want to go back because all it reminds him is that Peter has a great family and he doesn't anymore. And that how this gig, this plan and this path of being the Green Goblin, a hero, is the only thing he has left. So what else is he going to do besides this? Of course, eventually Peter agrees, just saying, promise me you'll yell and call me if anything happens and you need me. Of course, hinting at there's more than meets the eye. Though moving over back underground, we see Otto Octavius, another person who seems to have more than meets the eye here, especially with him mysteriously just becoming Spider-Man or a Spider-Man or variant, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, he is Otto Octavius and isn't above manipulating children to do his dirty work, if you will. As he goes on to say, this is exactly what we need. You see, I've studied how the people who really run this world operate. I've studied them, I've studied their methods, and more than that, I've studied their master, the great maker, a great builder of societies, a builder of machines. Yes, it took some time to deep dive into all of the records and following all of the threads to their origin, but there is a complete center as all of the nodes connect to the maker's fabled city itself, a place where all of the knowledge, past, future, and present all get stored and compiled there. But Otto is smart enough to build a device that can infect it. Of course, he is here talking to Richard Parker, the son and wearer of, the not Venom symbiote, but this universe's version of it with the Picotech suit. Also the son of Mary Jane and Peter Parker. And essentially what this device is, it's a parasite that eats at the tiniest portion of the knowledge, specifically made to filter out and destroy anything over a specific topic. As Otto goes on to continue saying, this device will erase any existing, and more importantly than that, any future acquisition of information regarding the Parker family, Otto here, Jonah, and Ben, and everybody else that related to them and that could come back and hurt them. The catch is, it has to be directly connected to one of the Maker's nodes to be effective, and the only one that's accessible on this very continent is directly located in the heart of Kingpin's operations, meaning it's very guarded and very dangerous to get access to. And if only there is someone brave enough to do this. Of course, referring to the kid here. Otto's reasonings are, to get into this place, you would need someone to break into one of the most secured vaults on this hemisphere. Meaning, hypothetically, of course, you would need one of the greatest thieves in history to pull off something like this. Of course, in relation to Richard here, that's of course Felicia Hardy and the Black Cat family, who were thieves in their own right, and someone who at this point he has a pretty close relationship to, even if it is a little rocky and weird. Though moving over with Peter for once, Spider-Man, the main Spider-Man anyway, we see him here talking with MJ over the events that are happening with not only Harry and everything he's dealing with, the death of Gwen supposedly, but also the situation they find themselves in, as, it's been 3 months since the last issue, which is still a bizarre turn of events, though the reasoning I could see happening is because, in December now where it takes place, that's when the Maker is set to return, meaning in the next 2 issues, things are about to get pretty hectic and crazy, potentially meaning the end of this Ultimate Universe as a whole, or destroyed beyond recognition, though that's in the future. In the present, this is all that they have, and they should take this downtime to actually enjoy being here alive and in good health as they sneak off to do what they do. And afterwards, even though everything is all happy and good, Peter even goes on to comment on their current situation that they are in, saying, "We are living underground, hiding from a world run by madmen who really, really want to kill us." Of course, dampening the current mood and what they were in. But Peter just can't get over this, saying, "Sorry, this is perfect. You're perfect. It's just all day I've had this feeling gnawing at me, and it just feels like something terrible is about to happen." Which for Peter, Peter might not make all the best decisions all the time or have the right sort of circumstances that go according to his plans, but if there's one thing that he does know and does pretty well is trust his senses and his feelings. I mean, he literally has a spider sense that warns him of danger, and with him feeling immense danger and something terrible is about to happen, yeah, it couldn't be more obvious that something catastrophic is about to happen. Though, over up above in New York again, we see Felicia Hardy, this version of the Black Cat, chilling with an actual black cat, just on some rooftop waiting until she sees movement, and it's none other than Richard here, or Spider-Boy, whatever you want to call him, Venom, even though I don't think he has an actual hero name to my knowledge, aside from just Spider-Man, what they call him sometimes. But as he arrives here, he explains to Felicia Hardy exactly what he is doing, because 1, he came to visit her and see how she's doing, and 2, he is on a very important mission. He is supposed to break into that building, fix tower, and place his device where it needs to go. It can not only save his family, but he made sure it could also save her as well. And so with his mind made up, he is doing it, and there's nothing the Kingpin can do to stop him, which in this moment just means he's not afraid of Kingpin. But before, when they actually fought, Kingpin was just as helpless helpless as anybody else to actually stop the unleashed Venom or Picotech suit when it really got angry. So it'd be interesting to see if they have a rematch and Kingpin now expecting what he can do if it changes anything at all. But it's not just Kingpin he has to worry about, as Felicia goes on to say. The reason why she is here is because she's followed Mr. Negative here as well, meaning that Mr. Negative is about to take the fight directly to Kingpin again and try to take control from him, meaning these two children here essentially are about to walk into a giant war between the villains. A war with many sides. As we move over once more on a different angle looking into the same Fisk Tower, we see Harry Osborn here, but he's not alone. He's talking to someone, as this mysterious figure goes on to say, is he in there? Of course, referring to Mr. Negative as well. Harry says yes, but it's not just that. It seems like he has an entire army as well, as his sensors also pick up dozens of enhanced humans. And oh yeah, who is he talking to, of course? Well, it is none other than Mysterio still, who of course wasn't fully dead, but I mean, look at them. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. It looks like an amalgamation of the different hosts and people all rolled into one. Now, it's unclear if this is truly what they are now from the magic and amulet fused in before death, or if this is more just smoke and mirrors and nothing more than a trick to seem more intimidating. But from their speech, I'm more inclined to say it's the former, as this is the new normal now. This is them. They're fused permanently to avoid death, I assume, from the bomb that blew them all up. Keep in mind, Gwen Stacy's still in there, as one of the voices directly rings out, "Are you with me, Harry?" instead of the normal "us" that the other voices said as well, which again just throws an entire wrench into the loop, because not only do you have Fisk on one side and Mr. Negative battling it out, you have Harry Osborn and now Mysterio, Ultimate Mysterio here as well, and then you have the children Richard and Felicia on the other side as well, about to just all head into each other for a giant confrontation. So yeah, like I said, not a crazy amount of stuff happened here, but it does set up everything for the next issue to be incredible. But if you have enjoyed it, leave a like or subscribe if you're new and want to see more content just like this. As always, this was AJ here at the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.